Hey everybody, welcome back to another Tuesday's Tech Talk with me, Danny Ritchie. I appreciate everybody dropping in again. This week we're going to go right back to another upgrade, this time the Klipsch RP-8000F upgrade. But before I get to that, I want to throw a shout out to all the high school students out there at Co-op Tech Main High School in New York City, and Mr. B's amazing 19 students that he has in his Mathematics for Industry class. And according to what he sent me here, the kids call it the chicken coop. Instead of the co-op, it's the coop. And so all you kids out there in the coop, appreciate you joining in, appreciate you following along. I think that's fantastic that high school kids as groups and things are following along these Tuesday Tech Talks and learning this information. And to any other high schools out there, high school students or classes that are using this material, please let me know. I'll give you a shout out, and at some point maybe I'll do questions and answers for you guys. If you just send in all your questions to your teacher, and I'll try and answer them in a Tuesday Tech Talk, or maybe one time we'll do a Skype chat with the students or something like that. That would be fun. So yeah, I appreciate all you guys that have tuned in. All right. Right to the meat of this one now, the RP-8000F. This is a floor standing model that someone sent me. I don't have it here with me. FedEx has already picked the speaker back up. And so Ron can throw up a picture of it possibly. You can see it is it's actually a two-way design. It's a pretty good sized floor standing speaker. It has a little bit larger waveguide for the tweeter, since the cabinet's a little bit larger. And it had two 6.5-inch woofers in the middle of it there. So the measurements, it was pretty rough. There was definitely some issues. This is more than just an upgrade. This one is a fix. So can't really throw hats off to the engineers at Klipsch on this one. They didn't do that great a job on it. We'll just take a look at the frequency response measurement. As you can see, there is a pretty big hole in the response. There's about a 10 dB hole, and the reason being is the output of the woofer and the output of the tweeter just simply didn't even reach each other. I'll have you take a look at this one. This one's the crossover responses. You can see individually the woofer and the woofers and the tweeter individually, and as you can see, they didn't sum at all. So they're not in phase at the crossover point at all. I tried reversing the polarity on the tweeter to change that phase, and it helped a little. So I'd say they were 110 degrees out of phase one direction and 80 degrees out of phase the other direction. So didn't look good at all. Bit of a mess. Tweeter level was kind of high. The issue that I found with it was both woofers are playing together. They're playing the same frequency range. So you have the two woofers playing together, crossing to a tweeter up top, so the acoustic centers were real far apart. So the acoustic center between the two woofers, because they're playing the same thing, is the midway point between the two woofers. And from there, all the way up to the middle of the tweeter was probably 15 inches. And the wavelength at 15 inches is about 900 hertz. So in order for the tweeter to cross to a pair of those, and it blends seamlessly and smoothly with that, and sound like one coherent device and not a tweeter and a woofer, then that tweeter needs to cross at about 900 hertz or less, which is not possible with that tweeter. So a bit of a design flaw from the get-go, trying to cross a tweeter to two woofers like that. It was just never going to reach. And then looking at the rest of the measurements, if we look at the horizontal off-axis measurements, it's just as choppy as the on-axis, because that big suck out is still there. And if we look at the vertical off-axis, which was moving the microphone up 4 inches per movement or per measurement, you'll see that the hole that was there between the drivers, where they're not really reaching each other and they're not really summing, it got worse. As the mic moved higher, the woofers became further away in time versus the tweeter, and the hole got even deeper. So it's quite a mess. So if you have this pair of speakers and you're listening to it and you can hear a big hole there, and if you stand up you realize the hole gets even deeper, It's rough. It's pretty rough. And then the impedance looked okay. Impedance was fairly smooth. It dropped to 4.7 ohms down at the tuning frequency there. Not any issue there. The spectral decay looked pretty clean. Still, you look at it and you see the huge hole where they're just not summing. A little bit of stored energy there at the upper mid-range, which is down at the bottom of the chart, but overall, they were a mess. So I had my work cut out for me on this one. Like I said, it's a little more than an upgrade. This was a fix. So what I did was I converted the speaker from being just a 2-way to a 2.5-way. So what that means is, instead of the tweeter crossing to the 2 woofers that are playing together, what I've done is I've limited how high the lower woofer will play. Now in the lower frequency ranges, they're playing together, but as frequency increases, only the upper woofer is playing. So the tweeter's just crossing to the upper woofer. So the acoustic centers got much closer together, and I was able to blend them much more smoothly. Also, it's balancing the response better. With both of them playing the same exact range, the way they were before, they were humped up in the mid-range area there to where they started to fall off, and as you go down in frequency, you couldn't see it on the chart because I stopped at 200. It would drop down in level to where they're both playing the same. It was just kind of a humped up, I guess you'd look at it like this, a bit of a humped up output. The way I corrected it, where it's a 2.5-way, the output level is still exactly the same below 200 hertz. They're still both playing. They're still both having the same output. I've just brought the rest of it down to where it's balanced. So no longer is there a humped up response, but a flat response. And I extended it a little further to where it would reach the tweeter, and I extended the range of the tweeter to where it would reach the woofer, and it summed nicely. So I managed to create a really smooth response. It was probably plus or minus a dB, so pretty high level of accuracy there. Everything worked out pretty well. Didn't have to use a whole lot of parts for it, and they've made a pretty good response. Looking at the horizontal off-axis, it looks great. The horizontal off-axis on that tweeter is really good, and it's smooth, so it's just a gradual roll-off as you go horizontally. Vertically, looks 100 times better than it did. It's still, as you move up vertically, there's still develops a little bit of a dipped area there near the crossover point. That's just because the acoustic centers are still so far apart. The waveguide is big in diameter. The woofer's pretty good size. It's a 6.5-inch woofer, so the acoustic centers are still fairly far apart. And as you move up, the woofer's moving further away in time, and they're not 100% in phase anymore. With this one, they're in phase if you're on axis, and as you go below axis a little bit, they stay pretty good phase relationship through a pretty good range there. I would recommend tipping the speaker back slightly. In fact, you might even add a heavier bass, cut a new bass for the bottom of this thing, and put some good floor spikes on it, and tip it up just a little. That would work even better. It's already tipped up, and by its design, there's a little bit of a front leg on it that tips it up just a little, but there's no floor spikes for these things, so that might be another thing you might want to do in the future. Think about putting a heavier bass on there, putting some floor spikes in it, tilting it up just a little. That's going to improve the room response, because it's going to allow the section that's the most in phase to be more into the center of the room. So keep that in mind. The new impedance curve still didn't look a whole lot different as far as how low it dipped. Tuning frequency is still the same, still dipped to 4.7 ohms, but it maintained an 8 ohm and higher impedance load throughout the rest of the upper range, so still a pretty easy load for most of your home theater receivers. Spectral decay still looked fairly clean. There's still a little bit of that stored energy down there in the upper mid-range of the woofer, but all in all, a lot smoother, and so these can be improved a lot with this upgrade. I'm going to offer all the crossover parts using the RC air core inductors, one RC Super Q for the lower woofer, RC poly caps for the woofer circuit, and a sonic cap for the tweeter circuit, using link resistors, which are good quality resistors, no more of the Sandcast stuff like what came on the original crossover. This one looks pretty bright yellow, isn't it? Looks pretty cheesy, and there's a lot of cheese there. The new parts are completely different ball game. It's not going to look like this anymore. And with the hole in the response that I saw, I almost wondered if there was something wrong with the crossover. I removed it and mounted it externally and took additional measurements and checked the crossover, and there was nothing wrong with the crossover. It was, that hole was there by design. So sorry, Klipsch guys, you could have done better on that one. So back over to the kit that I'm going to offer, the upgrade kit. All the crossover parts. It's going to have 32 feet of our high quality wire. It's 4/9 pure copper and polyethylene. So good quality wire for the wiring it internally. It's going to come with a set of tube connectors, which again, just like we did on the RP-8000 model, the tube connectors is a significant upgrade over the stuff that's on the back of that binding post cup. Some of those nuts and lock washers are all ferromagnetic. You don't want that in your signal path, so go in the tube connectors, an improvement in clarity across the board. And the kit's going to include 3 sheets of no-res. Now 3 sheets is needed to line the cabinet top to bottom and do away with the cabinet resonances. They did have one brace that kind of went through it top to bottom and a few diagonals to help support it, so it wasn't bad, but not good still. I mean, there was still a lot of panel area there, and you guys probably noticed on bass notes you could feel it. A lot of resonance there, so the no-res is going to take care of that. It's going to tighten up the lower bass. It's going to clean up the vocal region, and it's going to have improved clarity, and it's going to be balanced and a lot more enjoyable to listen to. All total, $359 for everything that you'll need to upgrade this stuff, and I just send it out to you. Don't go looking on our website saying, I don't see the upgrade on our website. I can't create web pages that fast. If I put a web page out there for every upgrade we did, there'd be hundreds of web pages out there for upgrades. I don't have time for that. Just call me to place an order. It's easy. If you need to, shoot me an email, tell me where you are. I'll get you a total with shipping, and you can send it to me via PayPal. Whatever you want to do. It's not hard to order the kit from us. I've got more no-res that'll be in this week, and so I'm shipping tons of back orders that have been waiting on no-res, and I should be able to get out any of these orders that are coming up next week without any problem. I stock all these parts unless you guys just blitz me on it. I'm a little low on that value of sonic caps, so I may have to order some more sonic caps, but I'm pretty good on everything else that is used in this one, so I don't see any problems there. Hit me with any questions you might have. That's it for this week. Thanks for viewing, and see you guys next week.